when you have somebody that believes in you and thinks that you can make a difference somewhere, you just jump right in.
That's Dr. Catherine Kennedy with the Texas Association of Latino Administrators and Superintendents. During her time as principal of Valley View Middle School in the Isleta Independent School District in El Paso, Texas, she stepped into a campus in transition and began rebuilding trust, energy, and purpose from the ground up.
Once you win the people, they'll realize as they see year after year, hey, there's some growth here. They want to continue with what we're doing.
She proved that transformation starts with people. When trust grows, momentum follows. And with it, a culture that believes change is possible.
I really feel that as a leader, it's your responsibility to make that person a better human being than when you first met them.
By the end of this conversation, you'll learn how daily visibility and presence can transform school culture, how vulnerability and care can strengthen faculty trust, and how aligning values across staff and students creates lasting momentum for change. I'm Dr. Matthew Flippen, and this is Transformational Educators. Tell us, when you arrived at Valley View Middle School, what was going on there? What was the culture like? What was performance like?
Yeah, so it was a shock for me only because I had spent all of my career in elementary education, whether it was early childhood and then elementary. And so when you have somebody that believes in you and thinks that you can make a difference somewhere, I was encouraged by my supervisor, want you to look at a middle school. I was kind of hesitant, but when you feel that you've got the support, you just jump right in. So
Sure.
When I walked into the campus, I had to learn a lot of things. So it was a big culture shock for me, having to learn stuff like from learning the importance of a good master schedule, high school credit courses, academic teaming, because I didn't have that at the elementary level. So I did a lot of observation and talking a lot to the faculty there, wanting to know why these things were in place. And then alongside, I was also looking for some just great practices, like a good RTI structure, procedures of greeting kids coming into the building, lunch procedures. So this was a campus with 7th and 8th graders at the time, and we had about 800 kids.
Okay.
And then when I get to the campus, then my supervisor says, oh, guess what? Next year, we're going to bring 6th grade to your campus.
Oh.
So not only was I there, and you got to understand too, before me, the principal was there for, I think, less than 2 years before she got a promotion to the high school.
Okay.
But prior to her, the administrator had been there for a long time.
Okay.
And so the teachers had been there for quite some time. So I think they were just a little nervous because here comes this administrator with no middle school background. And I think they thought I was going to turn it into an elementary campus, but good teaching is good teaching, regardless of the grade level. So I just needed to learn what was happening, honor the work that was there, and then start slowly bringing in some conversations that was going to result in some changes that would happen probably the following year.
Was there anything that was hurting on the campus?
There were pockets of goodness in different places. We just needed some clarity, and we needed to just redefine who Valley View was, what we were about. Of course, academically with middle school, it's always been a challenge. We were not at the bottom, but we were not performing as well as the high school and the elementary feeder campuses. So work definitely needed to be done. Very interesting at the time, just walking in and just seeing things that, okay, this is different, but there's a reason why it was there.
Yes.
And then when you start having those conversations, you realize, okay, this is what they wanted. It's just not as effective as it could be. So let's come back to the table and let's talk about it.
So you had come from an elementary that you had turned around from a performance standpoint.
Right.
But you didn't walk into the middle school and just assume that the strategies that you implemented at the elementary school were going to automatically be applied to the middle school.
I would have loved for that to have happened, but yeah, it wasn't there. And so I think, again, that was one of the reasons why I think my supervisor said, hey, you know what needs to be done. It took about 6 years to transform the elementary campus.
Okay.
And so coming to the middle school, transformation doesn't happen overnight. And so when you've got upper leadership that realizes that and will give you the autonomy to do what you need to do because it will take some time, then that's all I needed. Because once you win the people, your faculty and staff over, they'll realize as they see year after year, hey, there's some growth here. There's some good things happening. They want to continue with what we're doing.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. Was there any early wins that you had that really built a deeper relationship with the staff?
I guess just relating to the faculty and staff, just little things of just saying good morning to them was like huge. And so I really invested a lot of time in knowing the faculty and staff and not knowing this is an eighth grade teacher that teaches math. I wanted to know them as a person, and then I wanted to know their families too, because you want that connection. And then I wanted them to know me. So I was pretty vulnerable and, shared with them, look, this is going to be a challenge for me, but I'm going to rely on you to help me learn what middle school is all about. And then in the process, too, my own children were going through that age level.
Okay.
So it was really helpful, but also detrimental in a way because they were going to another middle school campus. And we would see each other at games because we would compete against each other. So, of course, it was like, well, Miss Kennedy, who are you going for? Are you going to go for Valley View or are you going to go root for your child? And so, and then also at the time, I was also going through my doctorate program. So I needed their support. And so when I made myself vulnerable and they realized, hey, she's human just like us, I think that really helped the whole process of transforming that campus.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, I'm a big fan of being vulnerable when you need help. When we try to put on the, we're Superman, Superwoman look and like nothing gets to us, it's hard because our staffs go through hard times and they need to know that they can be vulnerable and let us know how to support them.
Exactly. Exactly. Yep.
Hey, educators. I hope you're enjoying this conversation. At Graceland University, we believe real change in education starts with compassionate leadership and practical support. That's why we share stories like this. If something in today's episode spoke to you, maybe about your purpose, your next step, or how you can make a bigger impact, I invite you to explore how Graceland walks alongside educators through degree programs and strategic partnerships. Scan the QR code on screen or follow the link in the show notes to learn more. Now let's get back to the episode. You mentioned greeting. Were there any other daily habits that helped just for you in strengthening culture, winning kids?
I mean, visibility is key, but I also emphasize being present. So I could be visible at a place, but my mind could be somewhere else, right? So the superintendent prior really immersed our district, and I'm going to date myself, but he immersed the district in the fish philosophy. I don't know if you're familiar with that. It's a organizational book about culture, basically, 4 simple principles. So choose your attitude, be present, have fun, make their day. So those 4 principles, and I really internalized that at the elementary campuses that I was at, and then, of course, at the middle school. So I wanted them to feel every time I was talking to them, whether it was out in the hallway or in my office or lunch, that's a great way to have a good conversation.
Mm.
I wanted them to feel that they were the most important person in the world.
Yeah.
They were the only person that I was talking to. So that meant put away your phone, just be present for them. So in the mornings, definitely I would walk the hallways. I'd be out there for parent drop off, walk the hallways. Every Monday, they would receive a newsletter from me, and it was always a message from me first. And then it was very common to see in their mailboxes little trinkets, something tangible. I would bake goods for them, put cards in their mailboxes just to let them know I appreciate you. Great job on the weekend. We had a good win at a football game. Anything I could do to let them know how much they were valued and appreciated by me.
Wow, that's incredible. That is incredible. Now, I mean, I think about all that you described that you were doing at that time. I mean, you were leading a new school. You have middle schoolers yourself, and you're getting your doctorate. How did you maintain your wellness during that time?
I don't know, Matthew. You just do it. Lots of prayers. Lots of prayers. The elementary school that I was at my church was right across the street from that school, so I would be there praying a lot. And so again, taking it over to the middle school, you've got to have a strong faith, a very strong support network from your family. So they knew that if it was time for mom to go hide in her bedroom to write, it was like, okay, give her time. But a lot of the balance, I don't think I really understood what that meant. It's the work that needs to be done. And you just pray for strength that you could do it.
Yeah.
And we got it done.
And
Yeah.
you got through it.
Yeah. Exercise was very important. I'd
Mhm.
always been an avid, going to exercise classes, and I continued with that because I think exercise not only helps you physically, but it's more helpful mentally. And the days that I didn't go exercise, I wasn't a very nice person. So I needed to go grow my, endorphins and just go out there. And so that was helpful. But the other thing too was relying on good people. And so going into a campus where I knew a couple of people, but once you're able to identify those key people that will help and support you, then you're okay. And the other thing too was I was very blessed to hire an assistant principal. So that team that you build is critical. So I was very fortunate to have some strong leaders on my side.
No, that's fantastic. Yes. Yeah. No, you're right. So, I mean, you listed off, having a supportive family, right? Leaning into your faith, relying on that to get you going, right? Exercise. I mean, it's all part of that. But then when it comes to the work, right? Having a team and being able to share responsibility and not feel like you've got to be the hero, right? Yeah. We always say that, leaders are the guide to the goal, right?
Mhm.
It's the team that really become the heroes because they're the ones that are going to do the work that ultimately causes it to come across. And it seems like you really took that approach and
Yes.
still do today.
Oh, yes. Yes. I really feel that as a leader, it's your responsibility to make that person a better teacher, a better student, but a better human being than when you first met them. And that's huge. And so it's a lot of modeling, but a lot of conversation of what is it that we're doing. At the beginning of the year, did something so simple, so basic of just, okay, well, what do you value? So we created our list of values. And then it was like at the end of the year, how would you describe the student that leaves our campus? What do you want them to leave with? So they listed this beautiful description of, response. They want the kids to be responsible. They want them to be positive. I mean, beautiful picture. All right, guys, if this is what we want, then how are we going to get there? What are we all about? So we were able to create our mission statement that was so simple that even when, just thinking back, I still remember it because it was so immersed in ourselves because we held ourselves accountable. So it was first in pride, first in character, and first on the path to higher education. So then we defined what those three things look like. And so that became our behaviors, which is our values. And so not only did we hold our kids accountable for that, but it's like, okay, as a faculty and staff, we need to behave in this form so that we really achieve our mission statement. It was a great time. It really was.
I love it. I talk about leadership sometimes, from the standpoint of, that all people are looking for three things in their life. They really want to be known, right? Which you said, I was listening to how, like, intentionally you were. They wanna be known, they wanna be loved. Sometimes we can walk into a room, I mean, I really love everyone, right? But not everyone believes me when I say that, right? They'll say, "Well, you can't love me if you don't know me." And there's probably some truth to that. So if I'm known and I'm loved and then I'm inspired by purpose, which is this activity that you just described so clearly, gives this future inspirational vision that everyone comes around and says, "Hey, you know me, you love me, and we're on a mission together." And so tell us a little about what the outcomes started to look like as this was implemented over time.
I would say just having the PLC conversations with teachers where they were talking to each other, not at each other. And they were really looking at data differently. But I think the biggest thing was knowing kids, because if I took the time to know you as a teacher, then I expected you to take that time to know our kids. There's always a saying that elementary teachers, they're very nourishing, right? And nurturing. And middle school teachers, they're good at their content. They know their content, but they really don't know their kids. So I challenged them. I made it a point too, because anything that I asked of my teachers, I made sure I did it too. Rolled up my sleeves, worked side by side. So if I wanted them to know their students' names, by golly, I knew 800 kids' names because I wanted them to feel that I know you. And so they really took the time to know our kids. And so we had our RTI process where we would get together and basically go over, we call it a thumbs up, thumbs down process, where we highlighted every student. And so teachers would tell me thumbs up if they're doing well, thumbs down if they're not, tell me why they're not doing well, or tell me why things have improved. So having the teachers really know their kids was very, very empowering. Before, as we started to build our master schedule over the summer, I had the counselor and a group of teachers, and we'd come in, go through every single student's schedule to make sure they were in the right academic team because we needed to set them up for success.
Wow.
So when they saw that we were taking the time to do these little things and the outcome of these kids that were not successful before the grade level before, and all of a sudden they're flourishing because you needed to match them up with the right person.
Right.
So yeah, all these little things just really started to make a difference. And so academic scores were going up. Attendance, we had both teachers and students. They wanted to be there. We have an open enrollment policy in our district. So we had so many transfers because they were starting to hear about the great things that were happening. And when you have a winning season also with athletics and have a great fine arts program, they're going to want to come to your school. So we needed to market and tell our story. That was one thing too. I didn't want anybody to tell our story other than us. And
Yeah.
so when you're able to really grab hold of that narrative, yeah, things are going to change.
Is there a specific story about a parent, a teacher, a child, a student that really captures what you wanted to see happen there, that really touches you when you really think about it?
So thinking back, I think we forget how powerful the voice of a student is. Everything structured when I got there at the school was probably more teacher convenient than what was good for kids. So when we started to talk about what was good for kids, it meant also giving them a voice. And so we started what we call an ambassador program, which allowed the students to have a voice in some of our, committees, allowing them to share what it is that they want, what's going to attract you to come to school, and then wanted the kids, take our 8th graders, to then mentor our 7th and 6th graders. And that really just transformed the whole culture of the campus. But what it also did is it gave the shy students, because middle school is hard. It's just, the students are going through so much socially, emotionally. So you wanted to provide them that support. So when you see the shy, quiet students that came in 6th grade that probably just didn't feel this was their home, this was the right place, and see them evolve and then become leaders, it was just amazing to see. But what I loved was when I left the campus, because then I was able to go to central office and see the end in mind, where graduation day, where I saw my kids that I had, and this is a pretty cool story. When I got to Valley View, those students that were there, I had them at the pre-K center at the age of 4.
Oh, wow.
So
Wow.
I'd already made a slight connection. We only had them for 1 year at the pre-K center, right? So to see them then as obnoxious middle school students, they were still the same kid. It was just a bigger body. And then when I got to see them though in high school and graduate, that just really affirms why you do the work that you do. So it may not be a specific child, but it's giving the students that we had at Valley View the confidence and the leadership skills that I know they would not have had that opportunity when we first started.
Yeah. Outstanding. Outstanding. Yeah. So many great things there, Kathy. That you could do a schedule that helps children flourish without knowing the child. Impossible. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So
Right.
the work that was put into knowing children, really knowing them, led
Mm-hmm.
to this ability to place them in an environment academically where they would where they would thrive. So
Right, right. Yeah.
so incredible, so incredible. Well, I really love what you have shared today, and I know that you did go on to then help kind of reshape all the middle schools. Is that right?
Yes, work in progress, I will tell you. Because then we have a new superintendent coming in, and so his mission was to just reinvent our district. Our district was turning 100 years old, so we had a lot of buildings that were out of date, and then enrollment was decreasing. And so, how do you reinvent this district? Well, you reinvent by passing two bonds and reimagining schools. So we consolidated several campuses and rebuilt these beautiful state of the art campuses. And so I was able to see the consolidation of, I want to say we consolidated probably 3 to 4 middle schools, so that every feeder pattern, we were divided into 7 feeder patterns. And so the goal was to have one big middle school for every feeder pattern. So we had to consolidate a couple of schools, and Valley View was one of them. So Valley View and the neighboring middle school, Camino Real, became one school, which is now called Del Valle Middle School.
Oh, wow. Fantastic. Fantastic. I love it. I love it. Well, thanks for all that you've shared with us today. There's so many great lessons in this, and it does start with really who you are, Kathy, as a person, right? I mean, you are a believer that we can be better tomorrow than we are today.
Absolutely.
And you really do love people and children. And you've got this incredible can-do servant's heart that is just so beautiful to see. And
Thank
I'm
you.
I'm
Thank
so
you.
thankful that you are now facilitating leaders coming together to hopefully absorb some of your just great leadership traits through the Talus organization.
Thank you. It's been exciting work, and I thank God for every opportunity. It's so fulfilling for me, probably more than you'll ever know, and so that's why I want to continue to do this work. It truly has been a gift.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, it is. It is a gift. It's a gift to those that you've served and to all the children. I just can't imagine the children's lives that you've touched and the staff as well. So thank you. Thank you. If today's conversation gave you fresh insight or inspired you to lead with purpose, please follow the show and tell a friend. It helps us reach more educators who want to make a difference. For more stories, resources, and tools to support your leadership journey, visit graceland.edu. Until next time, keep leading with courage and care. If you want to keep learning about transformational strategies in education, click the next video.